Hey everybody. So we're getting into our 1.0, 1.1 test review today. Just a reminder, the test that we take tomorrow will look just like this review. So if you can do this, you can ace the test. Make sure you're asking questions if you have them. Okay, I'm just going to go through a few of these that I think will help you on the rest of it. So just stick with me and we'll see how it goes. So this first section here is getting into classifying and naming different, I guess, geometry shapes. Looking at this, this is the one of the first things we learned. I want to take a look at number three. Okay, this right here, if you need to look back in your notes, is array. Okay, array has one endpoint and then it goes, in one direction forever. Okay, so that is what I mean by classifying it. This thing's array. Okay, when we name it, I mean using its shorthand technical way of naming array. I have an example up here that is actually an example of array. All right, the shorthand for array or its symbol is this arrow pointed to the right. Okay, remember when you name array, you need to start with its endpoint and then a point that it goes through. Okay, so arrays are the kind of the particular ones. We can't name them forward and backwards. We have to start with the endpoint. Okay, quickly taking a look at number four. This right here is a plane, so that's all I'm asking for in the classify spot. Okay, when it comes to naming a plane, there's actually two ways we can name this plane. The typical way is using 3 points on the plane. Remember, you can use any order of the 3 points. Okay, so that's how I'm going to name this thing. And there's no symbol for plane, by the way, so we just use the word. So we're going to call it plane, and again, any order, I'm going to call it Q, P, R. Okay, another way you could have named this plane, you don't need to necessarily write this, but I just want to show, we could have also just called this thing plane M. Okay, when we have this little script letter up in the corner, that can be used to name it. Okay, but I'll leave these others to you, but let's keep moving. Okay, so from here, the next few questions are all about just solving. All right, so I want to take a look at number 7. This is kind of a typical problem. We have some distribution. Remember, when you see distribution, that's the first thing you should worry about. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I like to show the little arrows. Okay, remember, distribution is multiplication. So 4 times 6k gives me a 24k. And 4 times negative 4 gives me a negative 16. All right, I always say, use your calculator when in doubt. It's not worth, guessing on some of this and potentially getting it wrong. Okay, the next thing I would be looking for is, do I have any like terms on either side of the equation that I can combine? Okay, I'm looking on the left here, and no, I can't combine this k with the 16, and then I have nothing to do on the right. So now I know, okay, I'm at the point where I can start solving for k. Okay, so just remember, when you go to start solving, deal with addition or subtraction first. I need to get rid of this minus 16k, and I do that by doing the opposite operation. Okay, so those are gone. I have a 24k on the left. On the right, this is a good example of using your calculator. Negative 88 plus 16. Hold up. Okay, I'm getting a negative 72. I wouldn't even trust myself to do that if I was taking a test. Okay, and then last thing, I can get rid of this 24. It's technically being multiplied, so we undo it with division. And we have to do it to both sides. Okay, on the review and especially on the test, I must see work on all of these problems. Basically from here on out, from 5 down, I need to see work. I cannot just have answers. Even if you can just do this in the calculator, I need to see it. Okay, so negative 72 divided by 24 gives me negative 3. Okay, something good to know on these solving problems, you will not be getting decimals. So if that happens, it's a good way of knowing, okay, something went wrong. Okay, so I'm going to skip past this next section because I'm going to have you guys flip over the review and take a look at problems that look just like this. By the way, these are asking you to just solve for x, right? Okay, if you flip over and take a look at 11 and 12, they don't just want you to solve for x. They then want you to plug it in and find the length of a segment. Okay, I'm going to do number 12. Okay, so it wants me to find CD. Before I can find CD, I need to figure out what x is. Okay, so that's my first goal. All right, on these problems, this is using the segment addition postulate. Okay, if you remember, here's the idea. We can take this small segment and then add this small segment and set it equal to the entire segment. Okay, so that's my equation I can set up. So 5 plus x plus 2, those added together equals the entire thing, 3x minus 5. Okay, so kind of going through the list, I don't see any distribution. Okay, moving on. Do I have any like terms I can combine on either side? And yeah, I have the 5 and the 2. Okay, those are like terms. I can add those together. So 5 plus 2 gives me a 7. Okay, I'm going to bring down this positive x. On the right, there's no like terms to combine. I'm just bringing this down. Okay, next thing I'm looking for is, are my variables to the same side? They need to be to the same side before I can start solving. And no, I have x's on both sides, right? I need to get them to the same side, right? Remember, you can do the opposite operation to either one of these, okay? But you guys know I like to do what gives me positive numbers, and I know subtracting x from 3x is going to give me a positive, and I like that. Okay, so those are gone. I have the 7. Okay, 3x minus 1x is a 2x. Bring down the minus 5. Okay, and then we have a two-step equation, right? We're solving for x. Remember, the only numbers we care about right now are the numbers that are keeping x from being by itself, and that's the 2 and the minus 5. Okay, those are the two numbers I care about. I do not care about the 7. It's already on the other side. Okay, so anyway, we have to deal with addition or subtraction first, so get rid of minus 5 by adding. Okay, looks like I'm getting 12 equals 2x. 5's are gone. Okay, and then finally I can get rid of the 2 by dividing. Okay, and let me see. Okay, these are gone, and I'm going to get 6 equals x. I'm going to save myself a step and flip it around, x equals 6. Okay, here's the thing. You might be tempted to put a box around this and be done. Not on these problems. On these two problems, we need to plug x back in and figure out what they want us to find. They want us to find CD. Okay, so just to kind of get rid of all this mess, that's CD right there, right? That's what I'm plugging 6 back into. You can just do this in a calculator, right? 6, or I mean in your head, 6 plus 2 gives you 8. Okay, so that is my answer. CD is 8. Okay, so look out for those two problems on the test. Make sure you're finding what they're asking, not just X. All right, let's jump down to the last couple sections. From here, we get into finding the midpoint of a segment. Take a look at number 14. Okay, just a quick reminder. Here's the midpoint formula. Pretty straightforward. We are adding our x's, dividing by 2, and adding our y's and dividing by 2. Remember, this gets us a coordinate, a big old x comma y. All right, that's what the midpoint formula is doing here. That's why there's this, comma separating these. Okay, first thing we got to do though is get the endpoints of our segment. Okay, you guys notice on 13 they are giving you them. On 14 we need to find them. So let's do it. So let's start with this point here. Looks like it's at -4 on the x, +3 on the y. Okay, and this one here is on +4 on the x, -1 on the y. Okay, so there's my coordinates really quick. I'm going to rewrite these just so I can label them. Okay, remember, it doesn't matter which one you write first and which one you write second, as long as you stick with it. Okay, so this is my first x and my first y. This is my second x and my second y. Okay, and yeah, now we can plug these into the midpoint formula. Okay, here it is, x1 plus x2 over 2. Okay, so I'm just going to use m for midpoint, parentheses. Okay, x1 is a -4 plus x2, 4 over 2, comma, doing the same thing with my y's, y1 plus y2 over 2. y1 is a 3 plus y2 minus 1 over 2. Good, cool. And then it's just a matter of typing these into a calculator if you need to. Okay, -4 plus 4 gives me 0, and 0 divided by anything is 0. Okay, 3 plus minus 1. Just a reminder, when there's a plus or a minus side by side, you can ignore the plus sign. This is just 3 minus 1. 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 divided by 2, 1. Okay, just one thing. Even though we didn't get decimals on this, it is possible to get decimals on these midpoint problems as well as, the distance problems. Okay, and here's the big thing, guys. Does that make sense? Is that the actual midpoint, the coordinates to my segment? Let's plot it. 0 on the x, 1 on the y. Yeah, I'm certain I'm correct. That does look like the midpoint. Okay, but again, I must see this work on the test. If I don't see this work and I just see the answer, 0. Okay, so make sure you're showing everything. All right, last thing I want to check out is a distance problem, doing number 15. Okay, quick reminder. Here's the distance formula. All right, square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Okay, I think having the distance formula written out right in front of us is a good thing. I would highly recommend writing it out before plugging anything in. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Okay, before I do anything, right, I'm going to label my points. Here's my first x and first y. Here's my second x and my second y. Okay, when you guys plug these in, take your time. Look out for double negatives. They might happen. Okay, let's try it. x2 is a 1. Okay, built-in minus, always right there. x1 is a -5. Yep, looks like a double negative happened there. Really easy to miss that. Okay, plus y2 minus y1. y2 is a -3 minus y1, 4. Okay, from here, if you know how to use your calculator, you're good. Just though I got a little piece of advice, I would recommend typing in this whole thing in your calculator with a parentheses and everything, and you will for sure get the correct answer. Okay, but just to do it in my head, 1 double negative is a plus, so 1 plus 5 is a 6. 6 squared is 36. Okay, plus -3 minus 4 is -7. -7 squared is +49. Okay, remember, you will always end up with positive numbers on this step. Okay, so let's just add those together. So 36 plus 49, I've got 85. Okay, I'm just double checking. And the first thing I think is, oh, how do they want my answer represented? I'm looking up in the directions, round your answer to the nearest tenths. Okay, that's what we're used to doing. Okay, but always double check your directions and see what they want. Okay, so square root of 85. If you don't know how to use your calculator, please talk to us because that is the majority of the work here. All right, here's what I just want to point out. Here's the answer I'm getting, 9.219, and it goes on for a while. Okay, the tenths, just a reminder, everybody, is this spot, 1 decimal place. Okay, so this number is the only thing we care about. The only question is, does this stay a 2 or does it round up to a 3? It's the only question, and it's all dependent on this number next to it. If this was a 5 or more, we would round this up to a 3. Okay, but it's not, right? It's a 1. So we're just keeping this thing as a 9.2. All right. Cool. So yeah, that's the test there. So go ahead and try out the problems I didn't get to. Ask me some questions, and you'll be just fine tomorrow when we take the test. All right. See you.